I don't know if I discovered I had any talent. It was dogged persistence. I had to have the music. Bob Weir. Welcome to Beyond Your Radio, our special show. Thank you forever, Robert Hall Weir, Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead, Kingfish, Bobby and the Midnights, the other ones, basically everyone from the Grateful Dead after Garcia's passing, with Hornsby added, and Rat Dog, along with live works at Wolf Brothers. He was born October 16th, 1947, and passed away January 10th, 2026. He was an Americana San Francisco jug bandit at the start, which kind of turned to jam band, and all this from a Palo Alto back alley following of a sound Weir heard of a banjo. That source was Jerry Garcia, of course, and that I had to have the music. Well, this is part one. That friendship with Jerry Garcia, that musical kinship, the influence of Jug, but more so the emergence of the Beatles having an effect on this. And 40 years in a traveling band, possibly the greatest ever, that they would basically become. At the core, well, Bob Weir's a guitarist and singer-songwriter and a founding member of the Grateful Dead, with whom he played rhythm guitar and was a primary lead vocalist throughout the band's longevity. But even in the early naming, he would be in that position. So that was 1965 as a band until 1995 when Garcia passed away. The long, legendary onstage jamming. Why? Because Bob Weir and those mates. I had to have the music, which basically brings us to part two, which is the Grateful Dead. And for that, I bring in longtime Deadhead, show traveler, aficionado, obviously the Grateful Dude, who, with a heavy heart, joins the show now with Jerry, Phil, and now Bob gone over this 40-year institution.
You forgot about Pigpen, but we'll let you slide on that one. First of all, I'd like to say to the Weir family, my heartfelt condolences. The passing was sudden, and he was only diagnosed with lung cancer back in July, and it took him quite suddenly. I've seen the Dead 300 plus times, which makes me somewhat an expert. Weir, in my opinion, didn't play the rhythm guitar like everybody says. He played pseudo lead because his rhythm playing was unlike anybody else's. Unlike it, he played different than everybody. He played off of Jerry, and Jerry played off of him, which was quite incredible. To see it from the first or second row was phenomenal, and I've seen him a few times that way. I would say that, in my opinion, he's one of the best persons ever to play rhythm guitar or second guitar. I can't, at this moment, I can't think of anybody better. Creator of my mind, I'd like to blow away. With the heat come round and buzz at me, we're smiling on the cloudy day. The Dead always got knocked or dinged because the vocals weren't clean. They weren't. They couldn't pull off a 3-part harmony for All the Tea in China. That's just the way it was. But But Jerry sang the way he sang, we're saying the way he sang, and for 3, 4, 500,000 of us, it was a beautiful thing. Um, I'm not defending the dead. I don't have to defend them. They
No,
speak for themselves. They
right.
speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Um, the last time I saw Weir was, I think, 2006.
Oh, okay.
I saw him by himself playing at a club in San Francisco, and he was he did that quite a bit. He did that. The guy was insatiable tour, 200 plus shows a year, almost every year.
Hope so high and watch the love roll down the line. I watched it till it was gone, till I found I could not move on. I know what the ghost towns know. Love comes and goes. Love comes then goes.
He had so many people he could play with, enjoyed playing with, or wanted to play with him. The guy was phenomenal. Um, um, it was something that only you could tell yourself. Um, I saw him once play with him and Dylan by himself, and that was incredible. He could lock horns with anybody. He was masterful enough. He could play with anybody. Um, there's so much I want to say and so much I can't say because emotions are high. Um, it's funny because when I first heard about his death, it wasn't because I was reading. It's because um, Sue, Mark's wife, called me and said, "Hey, have you heard?" And I had
Hmm.
not heard yet. And this was on the 10th, about a couple hours after the game. Um, but he will go on in songs and in memories long after I'm gone and long after our kids are gone.
Hmm.
It'll be 100 years or so before, and I say maybe before they are forgotten.
I mean, Bob Weir certainly grew into a mix of guitar work. He explored all kind of techniques and just technically enjoying the instrument. And I get that completely throughout his career and the change of that guitar and how it's played, and even the guitars he chose. Very much um, a guy who liked to mess with the guitar and had someone custom build stuff. I think that was probably a little bit of an addiction too. Yes, the band he was backing had all kinds of musicianship that he had to play within, without, and obviously a lot of improv that goes into jam bands. But Weir is carrying a weight, and it works. It just always does. Even in his solo work, where the band came in and played too, but it was him carrying that. It also, if he doesn't do that, right? If he doesn't do that solo work, Gottschalk doesn't come in, right? Because that's where he pulled what's it him and the missus from there. So Garcia's death, well, that Bob Weir wanted to carry on, but I don't think he wanted to use the name out of respect for Jerry. So it
Yep.
became the other ones, right? And they did an album called The Strange Remain in 1999, about 4 years after, and they did I think there's a live album too, one or two. And once Kutzman was back in, it kind of became the Dead. So right, so here we are with a little bit of history, which actually included a revolving list of really great names. The Jimmy from was it Herring from the Allman Brothers is in that band. Jeff Chimenti, who was with Rat Dog, also was in Les Claypool's Flying Frog Brigade in
He
the
played with
future. Rob,
for a short time. Dickie Betts played in there with them too.
okay, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Rob Baracco, who played with Chris Robinson, Government Mule, and then you've got Joan Osborne who's in that as well, and we know how Joan sings. So in 2015, nearly exactly 20 years to the date of that last show, they go to Soldier Field and play. And that was the space to be. I mean, there was nothing bigger at the moment at that core. Those four, the core four, they call them, sold out shows with Hornsby and Trey Anastasio from Fish. So this is really, it could have all just been done, right? I'm all right, I'm done with that. Nobody who ever saw the Dead in the hundreds of shows or 70 shows, like another friend of mine who cried on Facebook, basically, he stated his thing, and that the people, it's an emotional thing, it's a following, it's something that never apparently leaves anybody. I've never seen them. I obviously don't have that affinity at the moment, but I mean, and I say John Mayer, right? Now and you think, well, how did John Mayer get that? Well, he's a really great guitar player. Well, he got there because of Bob Weir. Bob Weir loves John Mayer and playing with John Mayer, and
I can say right now, in all my hearts of hearts, the Dead are dead now. There's no records.
the
Record,
members wise, yes,
yeah. There's 2 drummers left. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but it's still this thing of this carrying on, right? Is kind of an immensely beautiful thing, and they don't call themselves the Grateful Dead. It's just what the Grateful Dead inspired. So that's the Dead, right? Or it's the other ones, and then with Mayer coming in, it becomes Dead and Company. He was the recipient of the Spirit Award with Les Paul. It was the first ever award Les Paul ever gave out, and they gave it to Bob Weir, and he played Les Paul, but he wasn't religious to Les Paul.
No, but he had a lot of guitars made by Les Paul.
Yeah,
and he had a couple custom ones made. I can't remember the guy's name who was the head designer who designed them for. But Bob Weir was I've seen with Les Pauls more than anything else. He played with a Chicago Ritter, Ritter, and they sounded great. But almost everything he's played in the last 20 years has been custom guitars.
yeah. I Lifetime Achievement Award from Nashville and the Americana Honor Society. So he's a state. Nobody makes a custom guitar for somebody who's okay. You know what I mean? They don't go, hey, yeah, you're okay. Can I
Unless you got lots of money.
It's kind of funny. He wasn't the marrying kind in the early years, but his living stint with a go-go dancer out of New York. All right, here's how this is, right? You got Frankie Hart, no relation to Mickey at all, but took Mickey's last name as her stage name because she was dating Mickey Hart, and then went to Bob Weir, and obviously that didn't work out to finality, but it did work out to give apparently Sugar Magnolias is one of the songs that's her, right? So there's this beauty of songwriting and life and what was going on at the time. And then he did marry in 1999. He had 2 daughters. Weir's been on the board of the Rex Foundation, the Further Foundation, Head Count, also a member of the advisory board of the Jerry Garcia Foundation. That I guess wouldn't surprise anybody, but that's along with Peter Shapiro and Seth Rogen. Weir was an honorary member of the board of directors for the Rainforest Action Network, which also includes Woody Harrelson, Bonnie Raitt, and John Densmore. He's also an honorary board director of Little Kids Rock. He's giving out musical weapons to kids so that if they didn't have anything, they had something, instructions, and just to serve the public schools throughout the U.S. Those are great things because he had to have the music, and he knows someone else is going to have that music. So Bob Weir is not only a legendary icon in the country, Americana, grassroots music universe, but if you think back to the start of what I just talked about, what we just talked about here in honoring this man of music, when looking to that statement he said, I had to have the music. He is a beautiful testimony to the institution that started it all. And it ain't no record company. His journey began that had to have, and it started at a record shop, a record store, a record archive. His archive is generous, as will his eternal contribution to every generation that comes next. I don't think this man will ever be forgotten as long as the earth still turns. He's that important to the grand scale of a certain statement of music. And those who discover because they too had to have the music.